Hello, everybody, and welcome to another The Witching Hour here, an original on the Creepy Vault. I appreciate all your views and likes. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the Creepy Vault. I'll have more videos. I'm doing these podcasts. I've been doing a lot of music and songs, which have been fun, but I'm trying to focus on these allegedly true scary stories for my podcast, The Witching Hour. This one is really scary. This one is about what you all know as the Suicide Forest. It's a forest in Japan, and it's called the Aokigahara Forest. I might have butchered that a little bit, but the Aokigahara Forest is what it's called, and there's a lot of people in this forest that take their own lives, unfortunately. There's actually teams that go in this forest every year to scout out for the bodies, and they recover them. It's like a body recovery team. It's pretty creepy. But this is a story, and we're going to change the names like we usually do to protect the innocent. And his name will be called Hiroshi, and he was a journalist that decided to venture in Aokigahara Forest, the Suicide Forest in Japan. So like I said, the Aokigahara Forest, also known as the Suicide Forest, is nestled at the base of Mount Fuji. Its dense foliage, volcanic rock terrain, and unnatural quiet make it a hauntingly serene place, known for drawing individuals seeking to end their lives. The forest's eerie reputation isn't just about its history, it's the whispers of supernatural encounters that have trickled out over the years. One of the most chilling stories comes from a man named Hiroshi. Hiroshi was a seasoned journalist who had spent years debunking urban legends in Japan. I think it was around 2017, he decided to document the rumors surrounding Aokigahara, determined to expose what he considered nothing more than sensational folklore. Hiroshi spent 3 nights camping deep in the forest. What he experienced during that time would remain a mystery, if not for his notebook. Hiroshi's body was discovered 2 weeks after he disappeared, hanging from a tree in an area of the forest rarely traversed. He left no suicide note, but authorities found a leather-bound journal among his belongings. The entries told a terrifying story. These are according to Hiroshi's entries in the journal. Day 1, the whispers began. Hiroshi's first entry was uneventful. He described the forest as oppressively silent, with no sound of wildlife, only the crunch of his boots on the volcanic soil. By nightfall, he pitched his tent near one of the forest's many abandoned paths, planning to explore the deeper sections of the next day. But that night, Hiroshi wrote of hearing faint whispers outside his tent. At first, he dismissed it as the wind rustling the trees, but as the hours dragged on, the whispers grew louder, distinct enough for him to hear fragments of words. "Leave. You shouldn't be here." When Hiroshi unzipped his tent and shone his flashlight into the void, there was nothing but trees. Day 2, the woman appears. The next day, Hiroshi ventured further into the forest. He described a growing sense of unease, as though the trees were closing in around him. The silence weighed heavily on him, broken only by the occasional crackle of twigs underfoot. Around midday, he stumbled upon a worn-out ribbon tied to a tree. one of many markers left by those who entered the forest but never returned. Nearby, he found a cluster of belongings, a weathered backpack, a pair of shoes, and a notebook soaked through from the elements. That night, the whispers returned, clearer than before. Hiroshi wrote that he could hear his own name being spoken. This time, when he stepped outside the tent, he saw her, a pale woman dressed in a white kimono, her long black hair obscuring her face. She stood motionless among the trees, her head tilted unnaturally to one side. Hiroshi shouted at her, demanding to know what she wanted, but she didn't respond. Instead, she raised an arm and pointed deeper into the forest. Hiroshi fled back into his tent and didn't sleep the rest of the night. Day 3, lost time. The next morning, Hiroshi awoke to find his compass spinning wildly and his GPS unable to get a signal. Despite retracing his steps, he couldn't find his way back to the main trail. He wrote without feeling, as though the forest was intentionally disorienting him, pulling him deeper into his heart. That afternoon, Hiroshi encountered the woman again. This time, she was closer, her face partially visible through her hair. Her lips moved as though she was speaking, but no sound came out. When Hiroshi tried to approach, she vanished into the trees. Moments later, he began hearing footsteps behind him, though no one was there. Hiroshi's final entry was chilling. I understand now why they come here. The forest doesn't just call the lost, it keeps them. She's not letting me leave. She's always watching, always whispering. I think I want to stay. The aftermath. Authorities who recovered Hiroshi's body noted the strange condition of the area. The trees surrounding his campsite were marked with deep, claw-like scratches. Though no wildlife large enough to make them resides in Aokigahara. His tent had been shredded, as though by a wild animal, yet no tracks were found. Locals whisper that Hiroshi encountered Yurei, a vengeful spirit said to haunt the forest. I probably butchered that word. Yurei, Y-U-R-E-I. There's a little line above the U, like an accent. Yurei. Vengeful spirit said to haunt the forest. The Whispering Woman, as she's now known, is believed to lure her victims deeper into the woods with promises of peace before driving them to madness. Some claim to have seen her standing near the forest's edge, watching those who dare to enter. Despite its reputation, Aokigahara remains a popular destination for hikers, but those who venture too far off the beaten path often report strange phenomena, faint whispers, disembodied footsteps, and the unsettling feeling of being watched. So if you ever visit Aokigahara, be sure to stay on the trails, because once the forest calls your name, it may never let you leave. How scary is that story? I've always been fascinated by this forest. It's one of the popular, creepy hotspots in the world that I've always desired to venture myself. One of these days, I'm going to go to all the haunted hotspots in the world, and this is definitely going to be one of them. I am definitely intrigued by the macabre and macabre, however you say that. The horror, the terror, the creepy, as you know, the creepy vault. That's why I call it the creepy vault. I've always been fascinated by those things. I've always wondered for myself what's really out there. Are there really ghosts? Are there really spirits that visit us? Are they trying to warn us? Are they trying to scare us? Are there really monsters out there and among us, or aliens? These are ventures that we'll have to dive deep into next time in our next story, only here on the Creepy Vault. Thanks for joining me this evening. I appreciate, again, everybody and their support, your likes, you subscribing and being interested in the content on my channel. Don't forget to continue to like and subscribe if you haven't. There will be a lot more to come. And until next time, stay creeped out. So long, my friends.